This is Mark and Michelle with Heal Your Autism. What are you making for us, Mark?
Well, I'm making one of Michelle's newly favorite dishes called Chicken Marbella. And basically, it's pieces of chicken that are going to be sauteed with olives, almonds, cut up prunes, a little bit of garlic. The sauce is going to be deglazed and made with red wine and a little bit of water. But I'm going to saute the chicken thighs first. These are boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I got at work. I work for Whole Foods. But you can use boneless, skinless chicken thighs from somewhere else as well. And I'm going to season them first.
And you're not going to cook the cat?
I'm not going to cook the cat unless he bugs me. If he's in here and running around between my feet, he might wind up in the pot. Alright, so we're going to season the chicken thighs first. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of sea salt. This is Heinz sea salt, iodized sea salt. This stuff. Alright. I'm not going to worry about the other side for now. Then I'm going to put a little bit of black pepper, freshly ground, or excuse me, white pepper on top. There we go. Now we've got a pan on the stove. It's been on a low heat. I'm going to turn it up to 6. And then I'm going to reach in here for a fork. We can use this to turn the chicken with. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put olive oil in this heating pan. That is about 3 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it's already getting hot because it's starting to move like water now, or almost water. But what I'm going to do for added flavor, and since animal fats are a huge part of the GAPS diet, I'm going to add a high-fat butter to this. This will also help the chicken brown. I'm going to put in about, let's add a little bit more, that's about a tablespoon. Pan is hot. This is the butter we use, but as long as you use a good butter being an all-natural butter, no additives, no dyes, no preservatives, no colors, you're good. Now, we're going to let the foam subside on the butter. It's already starting to get brown. See how it's turning brown now? We're going to add the chicken thighs. Not too many, because if you cool down the pan, then the chicken...
Am I noticing you're doing skin side down?
I'm doing the seasoned side down. And so that goes down first, the seasoned side, and it cooks. And I've only put 3 thighs in there. If you put too many, the chicken will start stewing in its own juice instead of actually browning. We're trying to get a little bit of golden brown on each side. And as you can see, the chicken's cooking quickly. Also, a handy little device if you want to keep the mess of grease down on your stovetop. Get a splatter screen. Then what you can do, just cover your pan, and that will keep most of the splattering grease in the pan. You'll still have to clean up. When you cook, you clean. That's just all there is to it. Cooking and cleaning go together. Chefs on TV who don't clean, they ain't chefs. Alright, see we're getting a little bit of brown around the edges. We'll keep that covered because you can hear it popping out. We're going to reach into the cabinet, however, and get another large plate because we're going to put the cooked chicken on that.
Never mix your chickens.
Nope, always keep raw and cooked meat products separate, always. That way you don't get cross-contamination if you have raw chicken that may have salmonella that you don't know about. If you mix it with your cooked chicken, then your cooked chicken's got it. You can generally kill salmonella if you heat it up to 145 degrees or more. But after you've cooked it, keep it separate from the raw chicken. Same goes for any other meat that you cook. Alright, we're going to check the brown on the side. We're getting a little bit there. A little bit more. Let's try these others. We're getting a little bit. Let's turn them back. I'm going to use a better fork. This is a grilling, well, this is technically a cooking meat fork, or a meat fork. I use it on the grill most of the time, but we're going to use it here because it actually has sharper tines than that dinner fork. Let's check the other. Yeah, there we go. See that? That's nice. There we go. We're getting a little bit of brown there. A little bit of brown here. Now we're going to cover this up. Now, this recipe is on the full GAPS diet. There are two parts to the GAPS diet. The first part of the GAPS diet is the introductory phase, and it consists of 6 stages that you need to go through progressively, 1 through 6, without skipping. And then after you've been able to add so many foods on the GAPS diet back to your diet, then you can go on to the full GAPS diet. Michelle and I have moved on considerably since we've been on the diet more than 4 years now. About 4 years and 4 years and 4 months. So this diet is a full GAPS diet recipe. So do not use this recipe if you're still in the introductory phases, any of the introductory phases 1 through 6. Alright, let's check our chicken. It's getting a little bit brown. We'll keep it over here. Yeah, there you go. So what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and take this out because we're going to finish cooking it in the sauce. Alright. See if you can get a big close-up of that. That doesn't look too bad. Alright, we're going to add...
Now, while Mark cooks the rest of this chicken, we will take a break. Go.
Okay, we're back with Heal Your Autism. I have finished lightly browning the chicken, and I browned this beef shank that we're going to use for a broth for Michelle. Before I got done with the grease in the pan. But take a look at the pan, take a look at the stove. The spatter screen helped keep a lot of grease from covering the stove and the counter, but obviously not entirely. But what I need to do now, I'm going to make the sauce for this chicken. I've got to pour most of this fat off.
Why are you pouring the fat off, Mark, when it's a high-fat diet?
Well, it's a high-fat diet. We're going to pour some fat back in just a minute. I just want to get it all out so I can control how much fat I leave in there or put back in there. All right, we're going to put the pan. Actually, let's do this first. Let's move the pan over. Let's put the grease out of the way. What we're going to need to do is garlic. Chopped garlic goes in there first. So, if you've seen our video on chopped garlic, then you know what I'm doing. That was another way to peel garlic. You could just take a knife, the flat of a knife, smash the clove until the peel is loose, and then peel it right off. Then, come back, cut your stem, your root off of the garlic. Move that to a little container so you can throw it away. Bring your garlic back to a place in the cutting board where you have room. Flatten it. Alright, that's pretty chopped, but we're going to do it a little bit finer. Again, in the chopping garlic video, hold the tip of your knife down and just use the blade of the knife to mash the garlic. Then, we're going to put the pan back on the burner.
But your pan looks terrible. Shouldn't you wash it first?
No, we want all of that crust. In French, it's called a fond, F-O-N-D. And that is a lot of flavor that's going to be added to the sauce. So what we're going to do is we're allowing it to heat up. We got our extra fat ready that we poured off. We're going to use this to cook the garlic and the rest of the ingredients of the sauce with. And as you may not be able to see it, but you can see it starting to heat up a little bit right in here. It's bubbling. So now we're going to add this back, about 1.5 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons. You can actually get a tablespoon out if you want and dip it in the fat and pour it out. Then garlic goes in. All right, bring your ingredients over.
Ooh, that smells good.
Can you smell it? Okay. All right, you should be able to smell the garlic. You need to really pay attention to it because as hot as this is, it will burn quickly. All right, these are sliced green olives. Those go in. These are coarsely chopped roasted almonds. Those go in. These are cut up prunes. These were organic Newman's Own prunes that I got at the store. Those go in.
And what were the olives? They were in brine, right?
The olives were in just salt and water. That's it. They were cured
they're
in salt and water. They are legal on the GAPS diet. Prunes are legal on the GAPS diet, at least in the full GAPS diet. Same way with olives, same way with the almonds. Now, this is about 1/2 cup of wine, maybe a tiny bit less. This is going to be used to get all that nice brown crust off the bottom of the pan. So, there you go. See that? Now, let's reach over here and get... that wine smells good.
That smells good.
Yeah, it does. So,
oh, look at it scraping off.
See, it's all coming up. All that brown stuff. See, it's not... There's no crust now anymore. That's called deglazing a pan. And you can use pretty much any drinkable liquid, wine, whiskey. I don't know if I'd use whiskey for this dish. But wine.
What's water work?
Juice, water will work.
Broth?
Broth, most definitely. That is the classical French way of doing it because it adds an extra shot of flavor and protein. Now we need to let this wine cook because we're cooking the alcohol out. The alcohol is a carbohydrate, and it turns into sugar by your body turns that into sugar. So in this case, we'll toss the ingredients together. I didn't really need to salt anything. The olives were salted, the almonds were salted. In fact, what we'll do, let's reach over here for a spoon. Get a small teaspoon. And let's, yeah, that's salty. So, we're going to need to add water to this. We don't have any broth right now that she can eat. So, I'm going to add water to this.
Mark uses conventional bones, so that's proof that you can get, well...
Not using
all organic, but I can't do conventional. I have to have organic, and I've had all my broth, and we've got to make some.
Okay, so this is juice left from the chicken, drippings from the chicken. I'm pouring those in the sauce as well. Beautiful. Then what we're going to do here in a little bit, we're going to let this cook a little bit until it gets thicker. The prunes are going to start dissolving. Here we go. I'm going to grab another spoon. You want to taste this?
It's too hot for me to taste it.
True. Alright. This is just some of the juice. More flavor than...
It's so good he can't speak.
We'll go with that.
Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. It's hard to... It's really good. It's salty. It's got a little bit of sweet with the prunes in it. We could probably add more prunes. But it's a little bit sweet and sour with that. And then the almonds add a good crunch to it. That's something else you'll also find on the GAPS diet. Once you do the introductory phases, towards the end of the introductory phase, stage 5 and 6, you can start adding fruits and things back. And if your gut can tolerate them. Well, when that's the case, then you get to add a natural sweet, in other words, fruit sugar sweet, back to your diet. The full GAPS diet, there's really never any processed sugar at all.
Honey is allowed.
You can use honey, but I don't think I'm still okay with honey, so I don't mess with it. But you could use honey as a sweetener. But you'll find that the GAPS diet is really an unsweet diet. It is not like the Great American Diet, whatever that is, with all the sugar and sweets and everything else. You just won't find that in the GAPS diet. It's very savory. All right, let's see. Okay.
So you're letting it reduce?
A little bit. Mm-hmm. That's potent. Yeah. There's a lot of flavor in that. In fact, if I add butter to it, I'm going to add butter to this at the end to add a little bit of gloss and shine to the sauce. It'll add more fat back to it as well, which you need. Not fat back to it. And that'll also give it kind of a smooth, rounded flavor as well. Yeah, that's good. Then...
All right, we're going to cut away until this is finished.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're back. I've reduced the sauce. There's still juice in there. But then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of butter. You never want to add lots of butter because then it'll melt and it'll just be a floating screen of oil on top. That doesn't look good. So, that is about a teaspoon, maybe a little less. Then what we're going to do, add that, reach over here and grab a bamboo spatula. And we're not going to put this back on the heat, so we're going to turn the burner off. And we'll just incorporate the butter by stirring everything around. We're not going to add any salt because tasting this sauce so far, it's plenty salty. It's not too salty, but she can eat it. But then what we might do is add some white pepper to it. See there? That butter has thickened up the sauce a little bit. I'm going to reach in here and get another spoon. We're going to taste the sauce and see how it is. Wow, that actually
nice and thick.
A Beurre Rouge sauce. Here, want to taste it?
Tricky. Mmm. Wow. That's my best graham cracker impression.
Wow, the butter really...
Wow, it really calmed it
really
down.
Yeah, it did. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's that. Then what we're going to do, let's check and see if there's any more juice that come off the chicken. Not much. That's fine. So what we'll do... We're going to plate some of this up. Since Michelle really hasn't had any dinner, let me reach over. So we'll get a nice piece of brown chicken there. And we'll get another little piece to provide a decent helping of chicken. Portion, I should say. Alright. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just spoon some of the sauce over the top. There we go. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water to that. There we go. And you want a little, nope, okay. And that is how we plate that up. We just cut the chicken and put some of the sauce on top. We're ready to go.
Tell us what this was again.
This is Chicken Marbella. It was invented in the 70s by a couple of women in New York City. And I think they wrote the Silver Palette Cookbook. Marbella is the name of a coastal city in Spain, but I don't really think there's any connection other than the use of the olives and the almonds in the dish.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.